Welcome, and you're listening to Geekologist Radio, a division of the Mulehorn Gaming Network. And meow.
Shut up and sit down.
Hey, welcome to Geekologist Radio. It's Christopher, and it's been ages, I think, since I've been on a podcast. I feel like I've either been sleeping or away at a baseball game. But we're going to say screw the Cohen ho-host and welcome in our crew of hosts. We've got, like 2, 3? I don't know. I don't even know how many hosts we have. All right. And introducing first up, Mr. Damian Nash.
Are you meowing at me?
Did you meow at me, son?
Oh man, I'm doing good. The spirits are flowing tonight, if you will. So, with that, I'm just gonna say, hey, Brandon, what's up, man?
Oh, not much going on right meow.
Did you get all willy-nilly on me?
Oh no, I'm not getting all willy-nilly on you right meow.
Right, meow. Listen, all right, we're going to get into this podcast. I don't know, the pregame on this podcast has been nothing but laughter and giggles, so we're going to try to get through at least the beginning part of it and try to ease our way in.
That's what she said.
That's what she said.
And by ease our way in, we mean some Fireball, some Bud Light, and some Captain Morgan Cannonball.
Cannonball,
yes,
which actually looks like a cannonball. So we're going to talk about movies, TV, some streaming, some comics. We're just going to jump right into it. It's that time of year again where we're hitting into that ghosts and goblins, myths and legends. Everything's hitting the big screen. We got Halloween hitting right around the corner. We've got clown movies. We've got scary movies. We've got just kind of crazy things that we can't even describe type movies. Damien, I know that you had a review on Blair Witch. Listen, the last time I saw the Blair Witch, and by the way, I was so young. Like, we were like in our teens, and we had like this buddy of mine. He's like, "Hey, you want to try to pop this pill, and we'll go watch the." I'm like, "No, I don't really do that kind of stuff, bud. But I will go see this movie." And
Chris, did you wake up with your butt hurting?
No, I did not. But I also was awake through the whole movie, not like the previous podcast that I was on. And when we went to go see this movie, it was prior to the internet. So, like, when Blair Witch was kind of spooky and crazy, and we thought it was actually really kids that were in it was really weird. Like, it was right at the cusp of not knowing and knowing.
There was still internet, but it wasn't like how it is now. Like, it was, They were able to do viral media on the thing and set up websites and stuff. So we weren't able to do a lot of research and think, oh, it's fake. No, they just set it up and advertised like it was the real deal. I'll go into it when I get to my review of that movie. I will get into that and talk intimate detail on the first one and what happened to me because I went camping at Lake Coeur d'Alene right after seeing it.
It was scary as hell. It was honestly,
yes,
it was super, super scary. Like, I mean, I don't care who you were. Like, because even walking in the woods, like, you hear a tree branch crack and you're spinning around. You're like, holy crap. It was scary as hell. Now, the second one was corny as the day is long. Like, it was bad. I went to the movie theater. I'm like, oh, yeah, we're going to see Blair Witch 2. It was terrible. Like, it was literally, it was so bad.
It was good for introducing you to a couple of the actors that were involved in it. That was about it because there's a couple actors in there that I really liked and I started following their stuff afterwards. Sure. You know, like Bird Notice and all that stuff. But yeah,
What happened to the original actors in Blair Witch? Like,
some of them, only the female actress, she went into some, she did some comedies and stuff like that she would appear in. You just wouldn't recognize her. And actually, you know what? Since we're talking about it, I might as well just go into the actual review right now and talk about it.
Certainly, yeah.
So here's my story to seeing the original Blair Witch, okay? So I knew that it was the night before I was going to go on a youth camp trip to Lake Coeur d'Alene with my brother. My brother and I go with my buddies to see the Blair Witch. Now, I've been doing looking up information stuff on it. This is back when I played EverQuest and all that stuff. So all the guys in my gaming guild were like, hey, this looks scary. It's used found footage. They had legal rights to use found footage because this is how they advertise this, folks. They said they got legal rights to use found footage to create a documentary about this what could be murders.
This was the first use of of quick cutscenes. I mean, quick scenes, like boom, 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 camera. Like it was really, really fast, and it was done with a handheld, and it was super shaky, and it was like, this is legit.
Yeah, and people got sick motion sickness from it and everything. Like it was the way that they did it. You thought that it was real. They went as far out to have film search teams looking for people, for this. So we go to see this film. Okay. It's the night before. We're supposed to go camping. We go to see it. We're losing our shit like the entire time. We're like, oh, God. We think we're going to be fine. We go back home. Okay. First film's done. We go home. My brother and I have to walk down to my grandparents' house. Now, we live on 13 acres, wooded property. We have to walk down this road to get to my grandma's house. I'm walking down to get to her house, and all of a sudden, we hear the bushes rumbling. I'm trying to run, and it's like in the movies when you start seeing the feet move and it's the pile of dust. I'm trying to move, but I can't move because my brother. Now, my little brother, he's 2.5 years younger than me, but he's like basically we're both same height, size, everything. He just reaches over and grabs me, and I'm dragging him through the gravel trying to run. And we see like the bushes moving. The shadow is huge, and it runs up in front of us. It was my damn beagle. Like, because of the way that he ran in front and the light and stuff, it created this huge shadow. And he was trying to say goodbye to us before we went to camping. Wow. So fast forward, we get to Lake Coeur d'Alene. It's our first night. My buddy, one of the buddies that saw it with us, Anthony, he's sitting in there, and we're all trying to go to sleep for the night. We'd just been talking about the Blair Witch. Everybody had been laughing. Our counselor's sitting in the tent with us. Freaking Idaho dry thunder lightning storm happens. Middle of the night. My brother and I both sandwiched Anthony, and like we were both like hugging each other, but Anthony was in between us. And we wake up with our noses touching, and we look at each other, scream bloody murder. Our counselor's laughing because he's taking a picture with his Nokia. It was like one of the first Nokias that had like a camera on him. He's taking a picture of it, right? And laughing his ass off at us. We roll over, go back to sleep, try to say we're not going to talk about it. First thing that they talk about during the opening ceremonies at camp was we had some people that saw a movie, I guess, or before coming here. A lot of people were screaming last night. Blair Witch. Fast forward 2016. So my kids and us, my wife and I, we let them see certain types of movies. Like we check up, make sure there's no nudity, things like that in them, right? Most of the time we were lucky enough to be able to figure that out. Deadpool I screwed the pooch. But so we look up and we're like, okay, there's no nudity, there's some curse words, some scary scenes. Let's take them to go see it. So we go to see Blair Witch. Now, the way that I rate scary movies is on how many kids and at what age range wind up in our room the night after seeing it. So we go see this movie, and we got my teenager and his buddies with them, and they're sitting there. The entire time, this is them during the film of this. The only thing I'm going to say with it is that they kind of follow too much of the scary movie concept, whereas, the token... If you have a black male in it and there's only one, they're usually the first victim.
Well, thanks for spoiling the movie for me. We know which one's going to die now.
Sorry. You don't watch scary movies.
Did they have the cheerleader and the jock and all that other stuff, which are all kind of tropes?
But they kind of, so to speak. If you go by the way they acted and talked.
It's basically just bad storytelling in that aspect where you're just basically pulling up all these cliches.
But what they did well on is, see, they got a lot of people that are just saying, oh, it's crap. Well, you know what? No, actually it wasn't. Like the whole audience was jumping and screaming. They had a ton of jump scares. It was a lot more like just subtle things with sound that they did that would actually get you to like, oh, it was intense. The filming was a lot more like, it was still captured footage, but because of now's tech where you have, glasses, cameras on your glasses and things like that, GoPro style cameras, they were able to make it a little bit easier on your stomach for watching. But what you do get to see, and I wanted to see if they do it, in the first movie and the second movie, you never saw the Blair Witch, right? Well, I posted up a picture. Todd McFarlane he had a series of movie toys that he did, and he did his own version of what the Blair Witch looked like to him, like through what he heard legend stuff. Basically, what they did is they took that image of what that toy looked like, and they created it. And that's what you see very glimpses of in the film. And you just see just enough that it makes you want to crap yourself. Like, they did a really good job on it. No.
Your dog better be careful.
He's not in the room.
Thank God.
But so it was really good. That the actors, there were no name actors that they chose, and they did an excellent job in the film. I don't know what critics are looking for, because honestly, it was fun. It was like a fun haunted house ride, basically. They've already made over the money. They spent $5 million to make it, and they've already made well over that. They're not sure, like, if it's not like a blockbuster, but you know what? I think these films often do better in rentals and sales after the theatrical release. So I think we still will probably see another Blair Witch film. But if you're looking for something just fun, no TNA, but just like kind of some gruesome scenes, but just something that's going to feel like a good ride, go give it a check out before it's out of theaters. If not, just wait and rent it when it comes out on video on demand. But it was a good film.
At least it's one like horror film trope that didn't happen with the TNA, which is like basically another horror film. Like anybody who's watched Freddy, the original Freddy Krueger, or a Nightmare on the original Nightmare on Elm Street, that kind of crap, or Jason,
Friday the 13th.
Yeah, there's
which
there's always some like one chick that showed her breasts, and it was like really ridiculous.
No.
And it's like,
She's
why is it
running through the forest in slow motion?
Like,
she's got really big breasts, hardly any clothes on, and of course she's
and
gonna
then the
trip.
stick grabs it and it ribs.
But those were bad. Like, you watch them now and it's just like, oh man, those are not good.
I still watch them because I'm a fan. I'm a huge fan of B movies,
Craven,
and the original, and so much so that I'm actually running Tough Mudder this weekend dressed as Jason Voorhees.
Nice.
Also, it's because I'm fat and I'm going to be slow. And this way, it masks the fact how slow I go, because I'm Jason Voorhees. I don't run. I walk.
Jason Voorhees doesn't have hair either, right?
No. Thanks a lot. Hey, this is the balding podcast. Come on now.
Oh, man. Keeping with scary movie themes, I know, Damien, you want to talk about It as well.
I'll say, so now let's talk about a film that released in 1990 that was the catalyst for many fears of clowns today. Stephen King's It came onto our small screens as a 1990 miniseries, and the actor legend himself, Tim Curry, took on the guise of the clown demon with incredible gusto, and being no newbie to heavy prosthetics, having played the darkness in early Tom Cruise film Legend. I mean, that film, that in Legend just alone, I don't know how he moved around the way he did. He was freaking scary. That was the stuff of nightmares and that. And then I didn't think he could really beat that until I watched It as a young child. And I hate clowns to this day. Like, I mean, totally hate them. I mean, he is so good at manipulating his face. He was that time period's Andy Serkis. Because, I mean, if you wanted somebody that could manipulate his facial expressions underneath a lot of makeup to create something scary or anything, you used him. Well, now for digital animation, guess who you use? You use Andy Serkis, and he's a great actor too, just like Tim Curry. So Tim Curry, he set the bar very high for any newcomer to embody the role of Pennywise. Now, fast forward to today, we have a new It being made, this time with a younger actor taking on the role of Pennywise. Bill Skarsgård of the Skarsgård acting family, better known from Netflix's Hemlock Grove, is stepping in to play the clown form of Pennywise. That's what I'm saying right there, is that they are going to encompass a lot more of the forms that Pennywise took during the course of the book. Whereas in the film for Made for TV, they had to cut some of that stuff out because of how gruesome it was. They're trying to keep it. This one's going to be a hard R. So it's and if anybody's seen Bill Skarsgård in the clown in Pennywise makeup, he's looking pretty creepy. He's got that pretty gruesome looking scary smile. The film will be a 2-part production, and it's finished filming with an estimated release date of September 8th, 2017. Now, this is the thing that I'm going to talk about with this. I often say there's a thing called the Stranger Things effect. And I feel like this is just that. Because we all know that in it, the first part of the miniseries was about the kids, right? It was a buddy movie about the kids, like Goonies taking on this demon. Well, it's going to be kind of the same thing with this one. It's going to go back and forth. We're going to have the kids. We're going to have the adults. But it's a buddy film, kind of like Goonies and all that, fighting a monster. This film that's finally getting traction. I feel it happens to come at a great time for 80s, 90s buddy movie remakes, fueled by the blazing trail of Stranger Things. It's just, there's a lot of stuff coming out right now, and I feel like it's just, a lot of studios, if you ever notice it, they will make a film and they'll be like, oh, we're just going to sit on this. And then all of a sudden, some star gets big and you see all these B movies that they filmed that never released, all of a sudden coming out on Netflix and other streaming things or Redbox. So you're like, oh, I'm going to rent this. And you rent it. You're like, wow, Chris Hemsworth did that. It's something that you don't think you're going to see, but you'll realize it was filmed like 10 years prior to them becoming a big name. But, look at Leprechaun and other movies, He-Man. He-Man had another Friends actress in it.
I'm the Leprechaun. I'm the Leprechaun. That's all I think about.
That's actually pretty creepy, man. That's actually good.
That's the thing I hear in my head is I'm the Leprechaun. I'm the Leprechaun. With the arms moving up in the air, down in the air. That's crazy. I know that we usually talk about DC. We're not going to talk about DC right now. We're going to talk about Marvel, especially about all the rumors that are going on with past Age of Ultron with the Infinity Wars. This is bananas right now. Like
it is.
Because it's so under wraps, everybody is so curious about what's going on. And it looks like this is all set up, obviously, because of Thanos and with the Gauntlet rings, which we know this is the big deal about this whole thing. But it looks like that it's going to go off of one of the comics, which is kind of cool, a miniseries called The Infinity Gauntlet, which basically talks about the rise to the Gauntlet, not actually using the Gauntlet, because we know that Thanos, at least in what we've seen in the cutscenes, is still chasing some of
the stones,
parts of the Gauntlet. He's chasing the stones. And the part that I think is really cool is there's a weird lust love thing going on with Thanos, which I think is kind of cool. He looks like that Thanos may be going after Death, which Cate Blanchett could be an embodiment of Mistress Death, which I think is really, really cool, where he's lusting after the thought process of death, and she's just the embodiment of that, which she becomes a character in that, which I think is really, really cool. Whether or not Cate Blanchett's character is that or not, it's kind of is up in the air, but I think it's really a cool concept. No, I think it's a really cool concept. I think it's a great idea. If they're going to break this thing into two parts, the one part should be Thanos, and it should be the chase for the Gauntlet, right? And then then the second part of this is he gets it, and how are they going to defeat him when he gets it? So that would be that's a great second movie, because
a rise and fall.
The rise and fall.
Power.
Because if they don't do that, how are they going to split this into two pieces? It makes it really difficult unless it's a chase. Somebody gets it, then we have to fight him because he has it, and then figuring it out from there. And that's how they bring in all of these other Marvel characters.
And one thing with that also is that this is coming from Latino Review, and if anybody knows anything about things that pop, Latino Review has almost always been right on the money with the things to report on. So that's just, it's probably what we're going to see, and hey, that'd be cool. I'm down with it. Let's see it.
Do you guys think that one person at least knows exactly what's going to happen from start to finish of this Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Yes, I do. The
only movies that come this secretive to me is Star Wars. Everything else, like DC and other movies, get leaked. This is tight-lipped like hell.
Well, this is actually similar. This is not a movie, but a video game. We have one keeper of the Holy Grail for Halo. So, that's a game where things don't leak on it. There's one person who has the keys to the castle, and only when they're coming out with the game, he comes out and he says, "What are you talking about? What's the years you're going on? Okay, I'm gonna get you a couple sheets from the book." brings it out, lets them work off it, takes those, brings them back. Nobody else has access other than, and it's Frank O'Donnell. I'd have to look it up off the top of my head. Formerly a Bungie employee that stayed with to help form 343. But yeah, he's the one that holds the keys to that Bible.
Very cool. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I know that we've kind of been down on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I mean, a lot of us, I mean, we talked about this a couple episodes back. I know, Brandon, you went more than the first season in. I went, like, vaguely into the first season in. As a way to maybe draw people back in, they're bringing in, I would consider him a B-list Marvel star, even though a lot of other people consider him maybe more so than that. And I guess it's based upon a really bad portrayal by Nicolas Cage of Johnny Blaze.
Yes, I would agree that is the reason why most people think that character of Ghost Rider he's not all that he's cracked up to be. I personally love Ghost Rider. When I was a little kid, I loved him. Growing up, he was one of my favorite to read about in comics and things like that. Nicolas Cage just kind of
I collected Ghost Rider comics when I was a kid. A really great series that I had was with Ghost Rider and Venom. They combined up for a series. Actually, it was through Dark Horse that they combined up. It was an off branch. Like they took him at the time when Johnny Blaze was kind of not a big name for Marvel, and I don't know how they worked it out, but they were able to create a series that it was really short lived. It was like a four comic series. But in any case, when I saw the preview of him in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., he looked a lot thinner. There was no motorcycle. There was no chain with flame. It was kind of weird. I don't really know where they're trying to go with this. I know maybe they're trying to throw a name out there that would draw people back in because they don't have a lot of big names or a lot of big names such as Marvel characters in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And so maybe to help the series out, because we're in season 4 now at this point, and so it's kind of one of those make or breaks, like, either this thing is going to go for another 3 or 4 seasons, or this is going to be the last season. And so maybe this is their last attempt at that. I know that that they're trying to pull out all the stops. At least that's what the writers have said, in order to try to draw back fans who had initially been interested in the series.
I'm looking forward to it. Like, my kids are all my boys especially are fans of Ghost Rider. In fact, so much so that a couple of years back, my son just I'd given him one of my old Ghost Rider Marvel figures I had, and then it got broke, and he wanted a new one. So I went, in fact, tracked down one of the Ghost Rider Legends figures at Pike Place Market. There's a comic book shop down there, and I picked one up for him, and it's pretty cool. Some people in their household, they have Elf on the Shelf. Well, Ghost Rider has become that in our household. We find Ghost Rider in the weirdest positions, and like he'll grab, like, my kids will steal my boys will steal one of my daughter's, like, old Barbies and stuff like that. And I don't even want to mention the things that Ghost Rider's doing. But so we find them.
You guys have the Ghost Rider tickler? Is that in your household?
So, for everybody listening at home, Damian Nash just turned bright red, and he's giving us a symbol to, like, shh, be quiet, guys.
Don't give out the family secrets. Don't give out the family secrets.
I told you that in private.
All right, well,
because as a few episodes ago, we found out that Damian Nash
Dick's Burgers. Oh no, that was a TV show. That was a TV show.
Yes. Sure, it was.
I thought that was good. It's
good. An Amazon TV show.
That's
show.
Good Burger, not Dick Burgers.
What was it called?
Good Burger.
Everyone, no. There's in Seattle. There's a burger place called Dick's Burgers, and it's like, so that everybody will be like, "Hey, I'm gonna get a bag of Dicks," and it's like, hey, not even what it is. I'm telling you.
Hang on, what's the show called?
It's with Kevin Bacon, and it's called Everybody Loves Dick. It's on Amazon. It's one of their preview film shows right now.
No, that's not the name of it.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
It is too.
No, that's not what you said it was.
It is. It says. Oh, wait, no, it says I. It says I love Dick.
There we go, guys. You heard it once again. Mr. Damian Nash loves dick.
Yes, he takes a shot. All right, on to Avengers. Avengers headquarters was visited in the Spider-Man Homecoming. So beyond the school setting and casting, not a lot is known about the overall plot of the John Watts film with shooting in Spider-Man's Homecoming. But one of the locations does seem to be making an appearance, and that's the Porsche USA headquarters in Atlanta, where the trucks have been spotted filming. So who do we think is going to be in this movie aside from Iron Man? Because Iron Man is definitely a heavy enough weight to carry this film with Spider-Man. And also, you know what I love about the fact that Iron Man is in this movie? Is it detracts anybody from the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man that this thing is going to be cheesy. It brings a lot of credibility into a Spider-Man film, even if the guy just makes a guest appearance, if Iron Man is just in there as a cameo, it brings some credence to this film that this is not going to be that type of movie anymore.
Yeah. I mean, let's see here. Who do we know that's training to get back his legs, basically, at HQ? So do we think we might see War Machine? We think a little Don Cheadle action?
That would be awesome. That would be really, really cool.
You know?
I think we'll see Black Widow.
Oh, they throw her in everything at this point. Except her own movie.
Exactly.
Like, they throw her in every movie except her own movie. Like, at this point, just put her in her own movie. So, I mean, this is basically a setup for Infinity War. So, like...
Exactly.
So you're going to see some major plot point at the end of this movie. You're going to see some transitions of characters. So people... to be quite honest... This would be a perfect movie to see Ant-Man in at some point. Like, he would be a great character to see in this movie because he's such a minor character, but enough that he can help support a little bit. So, that's who I would say. I would say Ant-Man.
Problem about Ant-Man is he is not going to be at. He's in Wakanda. He is in Wakanda.
Wakanda.
He's with Black Panther.
Setting up another episode of the Steve Rogers quandary.
Yeah. So yeah, he's over there. So I mean, it'd be cool to see him, but if it is, he would be like, you know, with a hoodie up and just kind of off in the shadows, not like full on. I'm Ant-Man, you know, or Giant Man, you know, whichever one we get.
I'm Ant-Man. I'm Giant Man. So,
'cause I'm Ant-Man.
Listen, let's just get into the game talk because I think that's going to be prevalent throughout this entire episode. There's so much stuff to talk about as far as games are concerned. If you've been on the planet in the gaming world, you have heard about a game by Bungie called Destiny: Rise of Iron.
What is this game you speak of?
I believe it has been plastered all over my Twitter feed. I know the three of us have delved into this game. It's been pretty addictive to the point where I spent most of my morning playing it, trying to raise my Xbox character because my PS4 character is who I mained, and now I'm trying to play with other people. What kind of thoughts do you have? Just general overview. All right, give me an overview. The story of Rise of Iron, thoughts, concerns, issues.
First thoughts I have is so you can start following this now for, you know, we can tell the future is what I'm going to say, because pretty much everything that we have spoken about for like ever
couple weeks,
has come to fruition in this. We called it. I'm sure there's a lot of other places out there that called the same thing, you know, but you know, I don't know. So I'm just gonna say we called it. I'm taking that. My thing is that story I felt like it. You know, the one thing is a lot of people are saying, oh, the story ends after you spoiler alert, you fight the Guardians they're not taken, but they're infected.
They're not Guardians.
Not Guardians. Iron Lords. Okay, Iron Lords. Oh my God. The Loris are going to be putting up their pitchforks and torches and coming to get me. But you're gonna die, clown. What I found interesting is the story. You know, it goes a lot farther afterwards, leading up to this raid. And Brandon and I, one thing we did and count on is we're counting. There's 4 Iron Lords in this. Okay, and we were calling out
1 living and 3 during the storyline.
So now we're counting about that. Okay, now there's how many? Wasn't there 10?
9.
There's 9.
9
Iron Lords. So I'm saying we're gonna see the others in the raid to some in some form or another. But My question is, why were they so much bigger than us?
They got infested by Siva.
Okay, so that grows the armor out?
The storyline is thin. It's really, really thin. I am not salty about it. I have enjoyed just even in the, I would say, I'll give it 4 hours of story that I played, because that's about right? About 4 hours? Has been worth the $30 that I spent. Actually, I think I spent like $2.60 after trade-ins. So it's worth it. And playing with people. I mean, I spent an hour on a jumping puzzle that I about pulled the last end of my hair out of just so I could get up a mountain. That was fun. It was not so fun last night. It was much funner today when I got it. But overall, like it's I don't know. It's not long enough. It's not enough information. I feel like people are going to be really disappointed when this raid comes out tomorrow, because when we're recording the day before the raid hits, and so it hits tomorrow at what, 10 Pacific?
10 o'clock, 10 Pacific.
10 a.m. Right? And I just personally like, and I hope I'm wrong, but I have a feeling that this is going to be right on par with House of Wolves. Like, this is going to be right on par with House of Wolves, and the time framing of how long this raid is going to be. And remember how thin House of Wolves storyline was? Because this feels just a lot like how thin the House of Wolves storyline was. Maybe House of Wolves wasn't even 4 hours, I don't even think. I think it was even shorter than that if you played it. I mean, depending on whatever level you were. And I'm already at the point now where I'm grinding. I'm back to the grinding part. So, like, I'm right back to where I was a week ago, except now I'm grinding in just a different area. And I was able, the level race thing was great, because I was able to go from 280 to I think about like 340 over like a 2.5 day span. But the problem is now I'm in a spot where, and I was going to get into this a little bit, but I'll talk about it right now. There's this kind of weird glitch thing going on where, like, when you hit that 350 area, that you're not getting Ingrams popping higher than 350 for a while until
40.
Yeah. And so once all of your slots hit 350, then all of a sudden, then you're able to go into okay, now we can hit 360, 365. We're getting a lot of those upgrades. But right now, and across the internet, when you hit 350, if you don't pop all of your, every single piece, we're talking your helm, we're talking about your gauntlets, we're talking about your legs, all of those have to be 350 prior, or you're not going to pop something bigger, or at least not as many items, to pop at 350 or higher. And so it's just kind of a bummer, because I feel like I'm spending a lot of time, again, almost like Bungie's doing one of those chokeholds on where they're basically choking out any ability to try to raise your level, because they don't feel like you should be going as fast as you're going. Like, they don't want you to go that fast, so we're going to halt it or try to do things to stop that. It's just a bummer. Like, it's just a bummer.
Okay, now somebody told me today when I was running with them, and they are from our Uprising clan that we are a part of, that the information was released from Bungie that there's been a problem with the drop rates ever since launch. And the reason we're seeing so many bullshit emblems or bullshit engrams now is because they fixed it. And it's trying to make up for all the weapon parts and all the armor materials and everything else that we should have had before. And that is why we're seeing so many greens, so many crap-ass blues, is because they're trying to beef us up with all the materials and everything that we should have had for the last 3 years.
The part that's the bummer for me is, like, the fact that, like, we had to eat this huge download about, 2 weeks ago? Was it? Yeah,
12 gigs.
So we had to eat 12 gigs, right? So so this thing was going to be super lickety splits, and everybody could hop on right away, and everything was going to be great. I had to work that day, right? But the queues at 7 a.m. were still jammed up.
Oh God!
For people after they, because the download on the Rise of Iron thing took me all of 30 seconds. I bought it, and in 30 seconds this thing was on. And I just don't understand. Like, I don't get what like, is it because of the servers? Like, 'cause you know the back end stuff more than I do. So is that again? That's what she said. But you understand what happens behind the scenes with computer systems as far as what's going on with this kind of thing. what's the issue? What caused? And it was a short period of time. Like, don't get me wrong, this is not the Division. Like,
it wasn't short for those waiting.
Yeah, but it isn't the Division. Like, they didn't jam people for a day or 2 days. Like, I mean, they shot out a tweet immediately, said they were going to work on it, and okay, hey, listen, you guys have more to say on this.
Hours.
Okay, so
hours.
the two of us and my wife, we were off the next day. We had plenty of rest the day before. We all stood up and me and my wife were grinding out strikes and Crucible just so that she can get back into the game because she hasn't played for months due to a busy work schedule. So we were up quite a bit throughout the night playing and waiting for launch. When it launched, blah, 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 it all was like, congratulations, Iron Gallerwing and Iron Gallerhorn Sparrow and all that
cosmetic
is now ready for yes, all cosmetic, but it's ready to install, which means Rise of Iron is installed. Rise of Iron is unleashed, so you have to restart your program just to make sure that you have all the latest patch notes and everything. There was hundreds of thousands of people playing right before it went live.
Over 500,000.
Easily.
That was just...
And the reason that we know this is because when they went live, they had some bug in their system that caused their servers to take a giant shit on everything.
Well, it was like we were basically like we were Lizard Squad or something. We were DDoSing them.
Yeah. And then, so 40 minutes after Rise of Iron goes live, Bungie Help sends out a tweet. My bad. Sorry. Servers are all screwed up. We're working on it. Then 30 minutes later after that, we finally get back into the game. It has a queue. I get in at 65,000. My wife gets in around 40,000. Damien gets in at about 80,000 in queue. Not that bad considering how many people are playing. 15 minutes to 20 minutes after the queue starts, Bungie Helps throws a tweet out. By the way, we just implemented a queue to let people into the server as we're fixing problems. So it wasn't right away. They were slow to let everybody know about it and everything else. The biggest problem with their queue system is I don't think it was a queue. I think it was their way of buying time for they can fix the servers without having the entire world jump their shit. Because we would go from 60,000... I got from 65,000 down to about 35,000 in queue. I got kicked out and had to rejoin the queue at about 128,000. I got down to about 102,000, got kicked out, and got to 275,000. Then got kicked out again and got moved to 300,000. And then finally, all of a sudden, it's like they flipped the switch. Oh, wait, it's working now. And then we would start going down in queue really fast at 20,000, 30,000 numbers at a time.
Yeah, it was interesting because the whole entire time, basically the launch of Destiny was, hey guys, let's watch Twitter and see what happens. We were watching Twitter and we were laughing. We were talking, like Gothalion was saying some funny stuff. Like everybody was tweeting to each other. Bungie had, I was like looking at him like, is that a porn bot tweeting to him or what? So there was a porn star that is a huge Destiny fan that's tweeting to Bungie, and it's like one of the top tweets, and it's like Destiny at Destiny the game. Okay, your servers suck more beep than I do.
I posed a question to chat a couple days back. I presented it to you guys because it just when you're playing a game, like this kind of game, and all of a sudden things become monotonous. You have time to think a little bit. For you guys, is Destiny a game that has gone past the point of being a game where a filthy casual player can play, and has it moved into an area where you have to commit yourself to 15 to 20 hours a week with this game? You have to pretty much play this game solely because of the amount of information that you have to be knowledgeable. You have to know about SIVA. You have to know about what this key does. You have to know that you can only play this raid or play this mission on a certain day, because if you don't play it on this certain day, then it only pops up and then you're lost and you don't get this. And then all of this confusion. I mean, there was line after line after line after line on going through Google on about how to get a Galahorn because people didn't know how to. And it was like, where am I supposed to go? What am I supposed to do? And I get it's supposed to be a figure it out yourself type thing. But are we past the point where this is a filthy casual game and people can hop in and just play for a couple of hours? Like a dad who works 40 to 50 hours a week and his wife's on his case, or because you got to get work done, you got to spend time with the kids, and so by the time all's said and done, and we had our one-on-one time with each other, watching some show that you don't really care about, whatever, and now it's 10 o'clock, and so I have from 10 to 12 because I have to get up to go back to work the next morning at 7 o'clock. Like, are we past this? Is this a point where like we're in World of Warcraft, so let the people who are behind get left behind, and the people who want to join, because the people who are trying to join now, I don't even know how you're trying to join now. Like you have to spend some serious time in Destiny in order to join now. I get the whole we start at 280, but guess what? You've lost all of year 1 and now all of year 2. So it's great that you can go into a raid of Rise of Iron and kind of know what's going on, but now you have to backtrack 2 years worth of story to try to figure out what the rest of it's going on. You know what I mean? For somebody like myself who's been away from Destiny is now coming back a little bit just because, new material, I'm really, really interested. I played Taken King. I was kind of done with it. I'm even having difficulty trying to keep up with all the flippin' stuff that we're like. What do I need for the Kozlov? What do I need for the Galahorn? Am I good enough to get into the raid? Nope, 340 is a joke when it comes to the raid. You got to be 360. Well, how do I get to 360? And so I know I'm bad. I'm running on and on. What are you guys' thoughts?
Well, I still think that it's like, again, we come from a clan that started out as a dead clan. So it started off as being something like that. Now, that being said, if we didn't have our group to be able to group up with and find people of like-minded individuals and all that stuff that understand
at any given time.
If we didn't have that group, I could see it being hard. See, that's the thing. It's hard. It's a hard thing to answer because from pretty much our start in Destiny, I've had this group of brothers to like go to and play games with, and now sisters, and but I've had a group to always say, I'm playing. What's going on? And I got like 100 or there's like 400 people that I can pick from to play with. I think honestly, what it's turned on to is that it's turned into a let's find our. You almost need a group. You almost need to have a clan if you want to feel the full experience. If you find a good group to play with, then you'll experience. If you don't, then yeah, it can be difficult.
This game is for me personally is really difficult without playing with other people. Like, I played with Brandon this morning, and obviously shout out to Brandon. Like, as far as going for because I went for the Galahorn and kind of help. I can hold my own in Destiny. Like, it's not like I don't know what the hell I'm doing. But as far as like having only 1 or 2 days off of work and trying to figure out how to maximize my time in playing a game where I want to try to keep up with my friends so that when they do play the raid, I'm not so far behind that I don't have an opportunity to play with my friends. Because you don't want to be that guy who's left behind, and then you also don't want to be the guy who's carried either. Like, I don't want to be carried. I don't want somebody lifting their hands up in order for me to be at 350 in a 360 raid, so I can't do any shooting and I stand back behind while I watch everybody else do the raid. The whole point of doing the raid is so that you can join it blind and you're not watching other people do it, and so you experience it for the first time with 4, 5, 6, however many people are at that time are actually in your group. Sometimes you have to add extra people that you don't even know, but it's tough. And so like this evening, I hop in. I'm like, I'm gonna do a couple strike missions without you guys because we were off doing other things. It's not fun. Like it wasn't fun. Like it was like I don't know the people I'm playing with. Nobody has mics on. We're not even if they had mics on. Who am I going to talk to? I'm not going to talk to somebody I have no clue who you are. It was just it was rough. It was rough, and maybe it's not even Destiny. Maybe it just speaks to a lot of other issues. But like for me right now, it has to deal with Destiny.
It's definitely the factor of being like it's a bro shooter. It's get together with some people and enjoy yourself. Brandon?
Now, I think it can totally be a filthy casual if you have the group, because my wife, she works 6 to 8 hours in the morning, And then every once in a while she'll come home for 4 or 5 hours and then go back to work. And so she's actually been off of Destiny for 8-9 months during most of this year, since Taken King got really kind of old and tired for us. I myself have taken probably 6 months off of Destiny, except for the occasional Iron Banner or things like that. But my wife just picked it up the other day when Rise of Iron came out, and she's been playing it like a champ and just got right back into it. And she was 340 without starting any of the story mode.
I think I was going more towards, and not even towards myself, but more so somebody who's trying to get into Destiny now. Because remember, they're losing a lot of 360 and a lot of PS3 players. And the whole reason why I feel like this... And I'm not going to use the word that I was going to use. Simplified, as far as the raid that they talked about, as far as the mechanics. The simplification of it is to draw more people in because they want to sell people on Destiny 2. Like, that's the point. They want to bring enough people in because the complication part was in the Taken King, because you already had a group. Now we're on the outro because we're moving on to the next thing. And so they've really, really simplified this thing down. The problem is it looks simplified, but if you're brand new coming into this, it is not simple at all. Like, this is not a simple game. Like, there's a lot of complexity that's involved. The bonus that this game has versus a game like League of Legends or like those type of games is the community in Destiny is very, very warm. So, like, people are willing to help out and willing to be supportive. The problem is are people be scared or turned off, like I was for the first year, and not want to really talk to anybody online. And if you don't, trying to figure out what is going on is going to have you spending more time looking at your computer screen than at the video game screen.
It's one of those things, like, I mean, to be honest, I mean, I never completed in full, start to finish, the Oryx, the last raid. I always tried, but it's just my hours that I was on. So I can get how that is. But I mean, even starting out, there's a game that I always would try to play because I enjoy the aspects of it. Enjoy the movement, and it's a free to play game. But it's if you try to get into it, it just totally like washes it. You try to figure out how to do something or things like that, just little. Everybody else in it seems to know what they're doing, but it's Warframe. I try to get into that. I enjoy it, but it's like it confuses the hell out of me, and I could see how that could be the same way for someone just starting into Destiny in this. Like, oh, well, I want to go do this. Hey, how come no one else wants to play this raid right now? Not understanding light level and things like that. But I mean, there's so many. The other thing is that we're in the age where there's so many YouTubers, and there's so many YouTubers that got their name off Destiny. I feel that it's hard to not be able to be informed coming into these style games, because within hours of this launching, we already know how to get a Gallahorn, where the locations are. We have videos of that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean,
it's just like with the auto rifle or whatever. You have to collect the different pages to the manual, and then you have to go and collect the three different parts to it. I walked Chris straight through it, just said, okay, we're going to go here, 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 and here, and we just went from one to the other, and that was because of YouTube. I seen a video on YouTube, showed right where it was, and I just remembered it, and I didn't have to look it back up. We just went and gone it.
So what you're saying is you're going to help me get the cost off after we're done with this episode, right?
Who are we talking about?
It's not that great of a gun. It really isn't. It doesn't melt.
Oh,
I like it.
It doesn't melt.
I want it.
It doesn't melt like I thought it was going to.
I like it. It's not as good as my gun.
No, that thing's
Shut
a beast.
Shut up. I was online when you got that dang thing. That was ridiculous, and I wanted to dick slap you.
Here's the thing. Whoa. Let's keep that in our
that
pants.
Just happened.
Listen.
Wait a second. You're wearing pants?
Jesus. The reason why we're so passionate, and listen, this is not me being salty at this is me not being salty at Destiny at all. I'm actually just trying to be devil's advocate when I talk about this, because we talked about it earlier. Like I said, for all of the faults that I find in Destiny, I find myself coming back to the game and still thinking about it right now, about wanting to be in another strike, to try to level up, to try to go through that slot machine again, see if I can get a roll, see if I can raise my level. So the game is doing what it's supposed to do. It's going to be fantastic. They're working out the kinks as far as what they're going to put in Destiny 2. But at the same time, for as much as it's being hyped, you have to give it its due justice as far as looking at its faults too, because it'd be unfair to just say it's this game. And so, all right, we're talking about games and things that need to be changed or to make things better for games that we love. Speaking of a game that we played all last week, there's some changes being made to ReCore.
Yeah, so ReCore is getting a new update on its load times. So, I mean, we're going to actually be able to jump into a game and feel like we're not playing from back, in the, the
AOL dial-up days.
So, we're actually going to... Now, granted, you had stated that the PC version of the game ran a lot better. How were the load times on the PC?
The PC load times were great. It really wasn't an issue unless it was a really big dungeon or a really big area that you were trying to get into. No issues at all.
Nice. So I mean, with that, we're getting, that's if the load times, that's, they'd lower that down. To me, like I'm still haven't. My kids have been playing it so much that because I got it on disc form, I haven't had a chance to go back to it and play it. I'm wanting to, but my daughter's all about it right now, and I'm not going to take that game from her. But as soon as I can, I want to get back into it and play it because I mean, you can't lose with that Zelda feel and the Metroid and just it's so good, and I'm already saying, hey, can you give us some DLC for it? I'm like, I'll pay for the DLC. Give us some more places to explore. Give me a jungle to explore with those bots.
Yeah, that was one of the questions that I had with ReCore. I mean, I enjoyed my time with it, and I've only played it a couple of times actually since purchase. No regrets. I probably spent maybe 6 hours in the game so far, and I've really had a good time. But just curiosity for you guys, and I mean, you already talked about it. People who purchase ReCore, was it a moment in time, and you're not going to find yourself really going back afterwards? Or is it something that you can see yourself, in the doldrums of December when there may not be games that have come out that you want to play because they've been pushed back by 2 months or a month or 3 months? Is it a game that you feel like that you can bring yourself back to? I feel like December would be a perfect time for ReCore to open up any version of a DLC or like a mini DLC, because that's the time to hit. Like, the time to hit is when nothing else is out. And you're like, okay, yeah, you know what? I haven't played ReCore in a couple of months. Battlefield's been out. I played a little Rise of Iron. So I'm just trying to find something that isn't an online multiplayer. What can I do? Where can I go that's not Gears? This would probably be right up the alley. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, Brandon, what are your thoughts?
As soon as the hard mode raid is done and completed for me, I will be going back to ReCore. That's all there is to it. I love the game. I'm still really excited about it. I'm probably the farthest out of any of our group of friends and the highest level out of any of our group of friends because I played the ever-living crap out of it. But I will be going back to it because I do love the gameplay. I love the idea of it, and it's a lot of fun for me.
It reminds you of, I remember, how many people remember when you're running through the maps and stuff on Mario, you learn those maps so well, you learn that if I run and then I press down, I will slide underneath this little block, so then I'll jump up and I can run straight across all the crevices without falling in it. You learn speed runs and you get better at them and you start feeling,
Yes.
Each time you did it, you're like, I got that score. Then you're going and you're looking, what are you looking at? You're looking to see if your score is beat your friends. That in itself is brilliant because Xbox has not had that, unless you're talking about speed runs on things like the game where if you die it's super hard. It's like a dungeon crawler, but it's the rum has taken effect, folks. I am so sorry. No more. But I mean, it's just a good. It's good for running, It's just a feel good game, and again, like I said the last time we talked about ReCore, it's a game that I can let my kids play, and I don't have to worry about anything at all. The content in it is great, and it's a girl looking out for her dad, and you know what? I have a daughter, and I want her to be fond of if I was lost looking for me, so it's good.
It would be terrible if you were lost and she could care less.
That would be horrible. She's
that
like,
would probably
sweet, I got
not be a
another
good thing.
Xbox to play. I got all this
That would
games.
definitely not be a good thing. You were talking about games that are feel good. I think there's a game for every one of us. Play them on a regular basis where your life is touched or it means something a little bit more in that time frame. Gets us through a breakup, gets us through a really hard time in life, a sickness, something where the game is like, man, this really hits on all cylinders, and every time I play it, it brings back all of those feels. For you, Damien, I know that Gears is one of those type of games. Did you want to share a little bit about your thoughts and your feelings about Gears of War?
So Gears of War, back when that game launched, I'd had it for a little while, and then I had come into the doctor. I had some things that were going on that were happened from work. I was in between getting not life insurance, but insurance at the time. So because I didn't have insurance active, I had to go to clinics. So if I got misdiagnosed with the skin, they're like, oh, it's just an ingrown hair, this type of stuff. Well, fast forward, I'm doing what they say, putting heat packs and all this stuff on, doing the exact opposite of what I should have done with what was going on. Turned out I had MRSA. I had a staph infection that was MRSA, and it was so bad that I damn near died from it. In fact, wound up being hospitalized for a little bit. Then they released me because they insurance issues and things, and they had told my parents to actually start making preparations. Now during this, I'm taking all these medications and all this other stuff, trying to do things, but I'm in so much pain that the only thing I can do to like kind of try to take my mind off it, because the painkillers were not touching it, was I played Gears of War. And I actually played with a group of guys that I joined up with. This gaming clan was called Bring Your Own Bob Saget. BYOBS. I'm just going to give a shout out to the guys. I don't think they'll ever listen, but hey, if you're listening, Nighthawk, Jump Off Just, or Destructo, you guys got me through some hard times. Miss you guys. So I jumped into it, found this group of guys. We were playing, and there was a lot of, they made fun of me because I would start getting overheated from taking some of my meds I was on.
And or tossing his control at the screen, one or the other.
Yeah. But the game, it meant so much to me because it gave me something to do, and it gave me something to focus on. Because before, a lot of games were out there for competitive wise. I actually got really good at this game because I had nothing but time on my hands to play, right? So they had weekly. What I liked about it is they had they had your regular boards you could get up on, but they had a weekly board. And while I was sick, I was in the top of the weekly board for score wise in the modes that I played. I was playing with these big name at the time streamers and stuff. It was pretty cool. And it also when I started getting better, the doctor said, hey, we got this, your most recent test came back, and we're going to have to give you a higher dose of medication, but we think that we're going to be able to get this nipped in the bud. And so they did. I was knocked out basically, and anytime I wasn't, I was passed out, I'd get up. I started playing Gears some more. Well, my brother started coming around. He was playing it with me, and this became our go-to game. I mean, before that was like Halo and things like that. Well, we started playing this. Now we're going to fast forward, okay? I'm better. Fast forward, Gears of War, the next ones in the sequels come out. Horde mode drops. Horde mode became a huge deal for my family. Like, we would get together and we'd play what we called it Gears Fest. We would set up at my grandma's place. Now, my grandfather had passed away, and so my grandma, she loved any time that her boys would show up and bring friends over. So we would show up, and we would get up to we'd have 3 teams of 5. So we'd have 15 people playing Gears of War Horde mode, because it's a 5-person mode, and we'd be going through there. And we would play from 6 o'clock at night to 6 in the morning. And, I love Gears of War, but in the last few, Gears of War 3 and Judgment, Horde mode kind of became a second thought. we're getting the old Horde mode back with a little bit of upgrades in Gears of War 4. It's freaking awesome. Like, fucking awesome. Like, I'm so freaking stoked. I mean, this is coming from a guy that's such a freaking Gears fan. My brother, for the Christmas that after I got better, bought me, and I have to actually retire these now, but I'm going to show these guys. You guys don't get to see this, but freaking boxers. The Gears of War boxers, man. Like
He's actually showcasing the boxers off right now.
Is that a shit stain?
Hey now. But I mean, like I had the Marcus Phoenix, collector's edition from Gears of War 3, the statue. I love the game. Like,
Skid mark is politically correct.
Oh, skid marks. My bad.
But
the fireball's getting to me. Skid marks it is.
I mean, I'm just saying, we're gonna get Gears Fest is gonna be coming back. It's 50 waves, back to 50 waves. That was at PAX, man. They were playing it at PAX. I was drooling. Like now the only thing is they have classes, so they're throwing a little twist on it, similar to what they had in Judgment, but not so much as that it's going to make it to where it feels completely different than what we grew up with. It's going to feel a little bit more. Actually, it's going to feel a little bit more like Overwatch. Horde mode will have more of an Overwatch feel, and I know that's good. That's playing on you because the classes in Overwatch, they have particular, things that the jobs they do. Well, in the Horde mode for Gears, same thing. You want your dwarf to run around and set up gun placements. You got a class like that. You got your healing classes. You got other classes for the Horde mode, and the whole thing is you have to survive 50 waves. You're going to have tournaments where people are going to be playing this game trying to see who can get to the first 50. And you know what else is freaking awesome? With Xbox setting up these new teams you can join, or communities, you can set something up saying, hey, this is Gears Fest community, and you can set up your teams to be in this thing and set up your own inner clan or inner team clubhouse, inner clubhouse tourneys. And I'm telling you, it's going to happen. Chris, I know that you love Gears. I know I'm going to have you. You're going to be over with me on this, man. My brother's going to be getting into it. I mean, this is going to be a big thing. And Brandon, you're going to get it because you're going to have to. You're going to get it.
Now that you say that it's going to be like Overwatch, I'm most likely going to have to get it. And my wife is going to hate you.
It's a big deal.
It's Horde mode alone is worth it. I'm telling you, because you're taking on. Because I mean, this is something your wife could get into. Because Horde mode, it's not like you have to be skilled against another player. You have to learn the game mechanics to take out the other the NPCs, the waves that are coming in, and you have to get good with certain classes. So engineer.
People who play Destiny are going to be very familiar with this game because a lot of the wave-based stuff. Horde mode is the predecessor to practically pick a first-person shooter and pick everything. This is a staple for Xbox. The fact that this was prior to COD Zombies, by the way, people. The fact that this has been brought back is pretty awesome. Like, I say brought back meaning like they're taking a care about this game that is different than how it's been handled maybe even in the last like 3 or 4 years. They really want to make this. I mean, if you remember, this is the same group of guys. Did you see that E3 demo about 3 years ago where people were just losing their mind about like the parkour and how this game looked and everything looked amazing, and then all of a sudden they got bought by Xbox and they're like, oh, by the way, you guys aren't going to do that game anymore. You're taking over Gears of War, and this is going to be your baby. Make something of it. And so, if you saw the preview is just absolutely gorgeous. I talked to Damien about this. I'm like, 4K is just going to be ridiculous with this game because the graphics are sick. And for me, this is my introduction to third-person shooter. And we were talking about third-person shooter to me in the second version because I didn't come into Mass Effect until Mass Effect 2. I backwards Mass Effect, and then I played Mass Effect 3. I played in a weird order. But like this is third-person shooter. This was how Max Payne was. This is like all of these games, and I'm not saying they're the same game, but I'm talking about making the third-person genre. And the sticky cover is the other thing. Like the Division right now is like, well, sticky covers like Gears. Well, no, Gears is the originator of the sticky cover. Like they're the originator of it. So I don't know. In any case, Gears of War has a pretty special place for me. Just in times I played with it. Now, I wasn't an original Xbox 360 owner. I played at friends' houses when I played this. But I've gone back to play, and so it definitely has some sentimental value. When it comes to Gears, though, here's a question that I wanted to pose to you guys, only because I heard it the other day, and it really kind of struck a chord with me. The Ultimate Edition for Gears, you're able to play 4 days early. If you pay for the Ultimate Edition, the $100 version, you can play this game $4 earlier than somebody that pays it for the $59.99 version, which is just basically the regular version. There's two things that are involved here for me. One, I don't buy DLC any longer unless I know exactly what the hell I'm getting, because I've been burned so many times with DLC at this point. I mean, I own 2 versions of Division DLC that I don't even play. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is the 4 days early. Like, we're going to get spoilers on this game. Unless they're locking it somehow, people are going to give this away on Twitter within a day. Like, I get that
they'll be streaming it.
Yeah, and they're going to be streaming a game that other people can't even play because they didn't pay the extra $49.99 or $40. Yeah,
$40.
So
that's not worth it to me.
Is it really a smart decision on Coalition's part and for Xbox to do this with this game and say, okay, well, you're going to gain this game 4 days early, and because you can't afford this game, or because you're choosing not to pay for the DLC because you're not sure if you want it or not, we really don't care about that. What are your guys' thoughts?
See, with that, I actually bought, and I actually bought a disc version of it because GameStop actually had this offer where if you pre-order the Ultimate Edition, you got $20 off any other new game that's coming into GameStop, right? So I was like, oh, Christmas time. I'm like, there's $20, so that makes the DLC effectively, because I know that for Christmas and holidays, my kids always want games, right? So I knew that would go. So effectively, that makes the season pass $20 for me if I buy it now. I had a bunch of trade-in value on a card. I was like, I'll just put this towards it and I'll get it. So I got that. Now is this 4 days early thing? I haven't been paying that close attention because of Rise of Iron, but is this 4 days early? Is that going to be effective to discs for people like me that are waiting on a disc? Do I have to go into GameStop and get a code? I mean, it's like half a mile down the street for me, but still, I paid for it. So do I get that? Or do I have to go in and get a code from them?
I don't know. And then if you get a code, remember, you can share this on the Xbox Anywhere thing. So are you going to be able to share your code with somebody else? Because is somebody else going to be able to play on PC while you're playing on Xbox? Are you going to be able to share it that way? I don't know how this works. It's just...
If it's a Play Anywhere title, as long as Damien's not playing it, I could log into my Windows using his Microsoft account, and I'd be able to play the game for free.
You see, yeah. He's like, I'm going to test it out. I'm going to see if I like it first.
It's just a concern I have just with games in general, if this is the route that they're going to go, especially with 4 days of exclusivity. I mean, YouTube, Twitch, Beam, people are going to start playing this game, and people who haven't purchased the extended version aren't going to be able to. And in 4 days, unless they go radio silent from social media, which as gamers we know that that's not usually the case with most people, at least they're in the loop of some version of social media, it's going to jam them on this. And so why would I want to spend $59? It's almost forcing my hand to spend that money so that I get the game 4 days early, so that I don't have it ruined for me later on. To me, it just seems like bad business. That's all.
So I already just realized something in my head, that I got the disc coming, and I'm like sitting there thinking I want to be able to play it on my computer. So I'm like, okay, so it means I'll play it, and then come Christmas, I'll buy myself the digital version of the game, and I'll give the disc to one of my kids. I'm like, yeah, I win.
Re-gift.
They won't know. And then I still get all the other bonus stuff that comes with the Ultimate Edition. So, again, do any of you guys see the Amazon edition? Now, I know this is going off from away what you're talking about. Did you see the Amazon or the other editions that they had with Marcus Phoenix's son's statue on the chopper? Oh God, I wanted it so much, but the price tag alone, I couldn't get the wife to. She's like, "Well, I thought you wanted a TV. I thought you wanted this." I'm like, "I thought you wanted to go to Vegas." And I'm like, "Oh yes, Vegas. Okay."
Vegas, enough said. Well, we were talking about games that were getting updated when we were talking about ReCore. There's another big game that, again, another shooter, except it's done in the Star Wars realm, Battlefront. And they're getting a DLC, so they're getting a bit of a facelift.
It's actually a really big facelift. So a year later, we are finally getting space battles. Holy shit, dude. Like, seriously, this is why I actually bought Battlefront. I figured that there would be some more of a space battle, more of an air-to-air combat type situation with my X-Wing and whatnot than what there actually was. And I was a little bit disappointed, so I played probably the first hour of the game, and that is all I've played. That's it. I haven't played hardly anything
man.
Battlefront.
So
Seriously.
I play it for one. Just the graphics are so goddamn beautiful in this game. Like, it's so beautiful.
The only reason I bought it because it was on sale and Games with Gold.
Oh man, see, I love the Battlefront games. I sadly, and I see it because I actually am sad that I haven't spent as much time as I wanted to with it. But other games came out, and it just kind of became this thing where it's like I want to get back into it, but my kids didn't take to it as much as I thought they would, and so that was a little bit hard. And then I had a certain brother who said he was going to get it and didn't get it. So I Gilbertus, I'm calling you out on this, But the fact is yeah, it's a year later, and we're getting space battles, and it's just like the original, where you could land on the destroyers and you can go inside and you blow them up from the inside, and the freaking Death Star. That being said, that is so. I mean, let's see here. What happened a year ago? Oh, they released Jakku. Jakku was what? A place that was foretelling The Force Awakens. Where does Rogue One take place on? Death Star. It's kind of like, oh hey, if we're just doing space battles now, mind you, they'll have multiple modes using the big giant map. With this, I'm hoping that more content's coming out with space battles and other things, other modes and stuff. But I mean, honestly, when you think about space battles, what do you need? You just need, one map alone for space. You're in space. There's not much more you can do different in space than just give you a battle. So that alone will get people to come back. And that's part of the DLC pack. So now I'm like, okay, put that on a holiday sale. I'm going to buy that DLC now. I have not bought it yet. I will buy that, and I'll go back and enjoy the hell out of the other DLC that came out. But I'm going to be mostly in space battles because I don't know about you, but I want to fly around and blow shit up.
What I find interesting is that they're deciding to do this now, and this was what everybody had asked for in the original game. Like, they literally, please just give me Battlefront that I played 7 or 8 years ago. Again, just with a facelift and better graphics, and I would be good. And so the graphics are super duper pretty, and the gunplay was super fun for short periods of time, because that was what was fun about Battlefront. Like, you could have the space battles, and then you can go down on the ground, and then you could have the gunplay. And so to have this as a DLC, maybe a mea culpa for them as a company saying, you know what, we heard, we listened. This might not have even been something that they originally had planned for DLC, and then all of a sudden they changed their mind and were like, listen, if we plan on coming out with Battlefront 2, we better have this, or people are going to get really, really upset.
Which we already know they're working on. We already know Battlefront 2 is working on with a story mode. Brandon?
So way back in the day, episode 1 came out. Yes, it was a disaster. But with that came a Star Wars game all about flying. You were on your Naboo cruiser, your spaceship, and you did races and battles, and that is one of my favorite Star Wars games ever.
Rogue Squadron, correct?
Pretty sure, yes.
On the Nintendo 64. Nintendo 64, right?
I owned it, yeah.
Yep.
Oh my god, yeah, that game was awesome. Yeah, it was great.
And that's what Battlefront is missing. And now that they're bringing that, it might actually... I may have to pick up the DLC. Probably when it goes on sale due to Rise of Iron.
Oh god, there's a lot of things coming out, and there's so much stuff coming out. I actually have a list pulled up to read off a little later. So, because I'm excited, and to say the least, and like I said, a lot of this I got to play at PAX, and there's just some good shit coming down the pipe.
See, and speaking of which, I think that's funny, because this is the part where I was going to talk about after Rise of Iron for me and Gears of War, there is like nothing that I'm severely interested in. Like, there's nothing out now until Horizon Zero Dawn that has my interest at all, which is February. Knock on wood that we're going to keep this date. I mean, I know that some people are interested in Battlefield, and obviously, you know, well, I mean, there are people who are interested in it. Like, I mean, it maybe not my cup of tea, but I can see how people are interested. What are some things, or what are some games outside of this realm where you're like, man, I know that I'm going to play Rise of Iron because Rise of Iron is probably going to take up the next at least couple months. You know what I mean? Trying to get to the raid, and then you want to be proficient at the raid, and then you're going to go to the hard mode raid. And then my guess is we're going to, again, have the same thing where we have Sparrow Racing League,
in December.
You're going to have the where each one of the places that you go inside the raid is going to have their own specialty for that week, and we're going to do the same thing we did. They're going to challenge. Listen, if there's one thing about Bungie that we know, they recycle assets. They recycle everything they do. So it'll happen again. But aside from Gears of War, which is coming out in under a month now, they just post
October. It comes on October.
Yeah,
11th.
I saw Aaron Greenberg's tweet about them going gold, and the coalition was really excited, and they were super happy, which they deservedly should be. But what are games, or what are some things that you're interested in over the next few months that you're like, you know what, this is something on my radar that I'm going to be getting?
I have a plethora on my list. So one of them is Warhammer End Times for PS4, Xbox One. Comes out October 4th. That's on my list, but it probably will have to wait till a sale goes on because I got a lot on my list. But it's Warhammer, and I love it. They also have... we have Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered along with Call of Duty Call of Duty I can't think of what the new Call of Duty is called because honestly I'm so excited about Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered that it's hard for me to remember the new Call of Duty title. Call of Duty Infinite. Which in all honesty, I have seen more footage of, and because of the space battles in space combat, I am actually interested in that title because I think that they're going to pull over those space battles to a mode in multiplayer, and if they do that, it's Star Fox all over again. So please do it. I will actually play the crap out of a Call of Duty game. Duty. Shit.
Just do the duty.
Duty again. God, the rum. But another game that looks really good. I haven't even played any of the others. I know that they're good, but I haven't played them. Mafia 3 looks really, really sick. And Chris, you're talking about games that you're not sure about what to be excited about. I know that we've been talking about this game. Come on. What about Watch Dogs, man?
Oh, Watch Dogs 2. Yeah. You know what? I'm starting to be less and less excited about Watch Dogs 2. The closer that we're getting to it, the less I'm being interested. I'm really curious to watch video of actual gameplay and not like the scripted stuff that we've seen, just because I want to know, is it going to be like the one-click button mash that the other one was? Like, because basically when you were running and you were trying to hack into things, you'd hit the button. I was playing it on Xbox, so you'd hit the A button and like it would hack in, and then you'd have to hold the button for certain periods of time, and then it would do the connections for you. It would be nice if this was different. I don't know that to be true. It kind of just looks like more of the same, but just with a nicer, or prettier picture. So we'll see. We'll see. Better graphics. We'll see. The other reason why I played the original Watch Dogs is because at that time the Xbox was so new that there wasn't really a lot of games to play. And
Very
so now
true.
I have a back catalog of games that I could easily play.
Oh God.
That was actually a question that I was going to pose later, but I'll pose it right now. There's with a back catalog of a bunch of games right now for myself. Tomb Raider would be number one on my list of games that I haven't completed that I would love to finish the second edition, because I beat the first Tomb Raider, but the second one I bought it on a really ridiculous sale. I think I spent like $14.99 or something like that on it, and it looks gorgeous, and I'm super excited about the game. But then I got to the first tomb, and then something didn't click for me. But I feel like it deserves a second chance. Is there a game in your back catalog or something that over this period of time where you're like, you know what, instead of buying something new, maybe I should get back to this, because this is a game I really, really enjoyed. I just haven't had the time to get to. Shadows
of Mordor. I still gotta finish that damn thing. Also, I got the Witcher Wild Hunt 3 sitting next to me. I got stacks upon stacks of games that I need to play. I got 360 games that are coming backwards compatible I need to finally finish. I mean, honestly, I got a lot of games to play, but when it comes down to it, I buy the single player games because I know that I would enjoy getting down to play with them. But honestly, the only single player game that I've played that I've really thoroughly been like hooked on and really, really enjoy was ReCore. Because I think that was also because I could jump into party chat with people playing it and talk with them like it was a co-op game. But my backlog's real. I mean, I still going way back to Xbox One launch, I have not beat Rise yet.
I traded that thing in with quickness.
I only, the funny thing about that game is I only played I played through the first level and then only played the multiplayer, and I got really good at the multiplayer, but that was about it for me on that game, and I really like it. I liked the idea of it, but I would just move on to other titles.
That game was gorgeous. For sure it was gorgeous. The gameplay was pretty cool too. You know what that game reminded me of? It reminded me a lot of The Order, 1886.
See, I wouldn't know. I want to play that game. It looked beautiful. Wanted to play it. I don't have a PlayStation.
I bought it way too early. I should have waited. But it reminds me a lot of that because it had a lot of quick time scenes. It was a gorgeous game. It had a lot of hype and a lot of hope, and there was a huge letdown. Both games kind of fit under that category for me.
So one of the games I would go back to is, and the only reason because the sequel comes out very soon. Damon, do you know what game it is?
Shadow Warrior.
Thank you.
So,
yes.
With that being said,
oh my God,
Shadow Warrior 2 launches on October 13th on PC, but you have to wait until first quarter 2017 for it to come out on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Chris, you're going to be pinged to get it on Xbox because we don't have PlayStation both yet. And it is a 4-player co-op procedurally generated map.
On PC.
What?
I might get it on PC.
You're going to get it on Xbox One, though, too, right?
Probably. Okay, now, the reason why, and this goes back to my childhood, my dad found the original Shadow Warrior game, which is a tribute back to Duke Nukem and Doom and all of those games way back in the day. It played just like them. This is like one of the original, go in there and just destroy everything in your path.
Also, going to interrupt you just for a moment. Duke Nukem 3D 20th Anniversary World Tour Edition, PC, PS4, and Xbox One launches on October 11th. People get it. It's going to have multiplayer. And, it's a high-res pixelated adventure with pixelated tits. Woo! Okay.
Wow. Okay. So trying to transition from that, I said that the game that I was the most interested in coming up in February is Horizon Zero Dawn. Being a PS4 owner, this is and the anticipation of The Last of Us is the only thing that I can compare this game to right now currently on how hyped and excited I am about this game. I'm just over the moon about it. It has a combination of, for me, is a Mass Effect / Witcher feel, but it's also supposed to be an action game, which you've got me. When you talk to Guerrilla Games, they talked at the Tokyo Game Show, and they gave us some nuggets, which I thought was really, really awesome. One, there was another project they were working on, and they scrapped it because this game was so important to them. They brought every person they had, all hands on deck for this game. If I had to hazard a guess, it would be for the 4K upres, and for all of the graphics that they're doing on this thing, but also to make sure that the polish is on this, because this game got extended by another, I think a month and a half. It got tacked on to it, 2 months maybe, got tacked onto this game. Another thing that I thought was really, really cool was that Guerrilla Games had people coming up to them telling them how difficult this game was when they were demoing it, and they started to laugh about that. They cranked up the difficulty on purpose because they wanted to see how hard it would get for somebody to continue to play. But they're going to have levels for everybody. So anybody who plays, they're going to have a reasonable level. Damien?
You can see this at PAX because when you're walking through the lines, so the PlayStation booth's right here, Xbox booth's right here, you could see people getting frustrated at it. But I'm going to tell you, man, that game looks beautiful, and it makes me jealous, and it makes me want a PlayStation Pro. If I'm going to buy one, I'm going to get the Pro. I got to go with that. But yeah, you can see everything they did there. Everything was upscaled to 4K on 4K TVs. It looked great, and I know it's upscaled, but
keyword is upscaled.
I know. But even still, with upscaled, it still looked beautiful. And like I said, my only problem with that is with the PlayStation is the controller. They've gone a lot better with the PlayStation 4. I have paddle hands, so I have a hard time with it. But that PlayStation 4 Elite controller, if that would do the trick for me. Sorry, back to you, man. I just remember seeing it at PAX and seeing people. I saw people getting frustrated. I saw that stuff, and I was like, "Ooh, that looks fun." I'm like, "Ooh, I don't know about that."
No, because there's a
core
core group that gets frustrated with The Witcher. I mean, I got flustered with The Witcher 3.
So did I. I'm only like 2 hours in.
At Tokyo Game Show, Guerrilla kind of squashed some myths about the game. A lot of people thought that this was going to be basically The Witcher, just because if you saw the tree of conversation level and such, and some of the gameplay, it had a feel of The Witcher. When I saw it, my first instinct was that. But they said that this is going to be more towards more like Mass Effect 2. Like Mass Effect 2 had that tree, but it was still a shooter, but it still had like some it wasn't heavy RPG elements like the original Mass Effect, but it still had enough. So I feel like this game is going to be kind of like I said before, a hybrid of both of these games. They want to make it so that it's an action game, and so people aren't hung up on the RPG aspect, but they don't want to downplay it so much that people who are into action games don't realize that there's going to be some RPG element to this game. So I honestly think that they're taking enough care and time with this that this is going to be the next pillar for the PlayStation. This is going to take the reins of Uncharted, and that's the hopes. And so I hope Sony decides to back this with that kind of fervor, because in the past with games and in the past with any type of asset they own, it seems like they're not backing them. Most recently, the PlayStation VR, where we went through everything about the Pro. We've done everything. I'm going to raise of hands to the folks that know that the PlayStation VR is out in less than 3 weeks, because they sure aren't promoting it. They're not telling anybody about it. They're not beating a drum, which they might not be beating a drum because it's like, well, you know, what is there to beat as far as the drum is concerned? Because we've already given out all the information. We've sold out of all the pre-orders. Nobody's going to get one for a while. Like, what else should we say? But I mean, if you're backing this, you cannot make this as a PlayStation move. You have to do something.
With that, when I was at PAX, they weren't like, I mean, they had PlayStation VR there, but most of the VR stuff that they were testing, it's starting out. It's PC primarily, with a other console in their sights. And to be honest, the console that they keep talking about when they were there is Scorpio. They keep talking about how that's going to be their target one. Now I don't know. There's rumors right now. I tried to get the guys from Vive to talk about it. There is rumors that Scorpio will be usable with Vive, but because of the process, like all the power, all the stuff you need to have for a Vive machine, I don't see how you could have a Vive usable with a console and keep it within a price point that people can actually pick it up. Because a Vive alone is I think a Vive is. I'm trying to remember what the price point on it is. $800 seems to stay out in my mind because you have sensors and stuff you're setting up in a room, right? Now, Vive is more closer to true VR with the controllers and everything. But we know that Microsoft had an early partnership with what is the Oculus Rift, and I saw a lot of Oculus Rift games being tested, and a lot of Xbox One controllers being used. That's no push against Sony. I just didn't see a lot of games that said coming to this and this. I saw a lot of games that said coming to VR systems and or just in general, like a blanket statement. And when you talk to people, they did talk a lot about, oh yeah, this is something we're going to be pushing towards Scorpio, which some of those things were the Elder Scrolls Online VR and the Fallout 4 VR mods. So that was some stuff that I experienced there.
Well, all right.
Sorry.
No, I think what we're going to do is we're going to go into our tech and geek history right now. In September of 1982, around this time, in a posting made to Carnegie Mellon on the bulletin board, Professor Scott Fahlman proposes the first known use of emoticons, also known as smilicons or smileys. While the use of the emoticons became widespread during the 80s and 90s, the origin remained unknown until September 10th of 2002, when the original message was retrieved on a backup tape, which is now displayed. I think it's kind of interesting because now that they were emoticons and they were smilicons, now we're just going to do what we do with everything and simplify it even more and make it just emojis. I don't think there's a single person that doesn't say or do or use something with emojis at this point. I just had a coworker of mine literally had me in hysterics the other day with an emoticon just because of the terms, like just the context of what it was. Damien?
Well, if you're an iPhone user, which Chris is now back to being an iPhone user.
Correct.
Boo.
This is correct.
So with that, Apple updated the poo emoji because they understand that there are many different colors of poo and different types of textures. We even have nutty poo now emoji. We have diarrhea emoji. Like they have the plethora of poo. So just saying.
So there's
emojis have evolved.
So just like Apple, there's a lot of shit.
I was thinking like you go from feeling like shit to feeling shittier, or I'm feeling really shitty. And so really that's
because you're using an
diarrhea is like I'm feeling really shitty today, and as opposed to that's the progression of how bad we feel. Like it goes from good, better, best, like with the emoticons.
Just don't ask Damien's dog.
No, let's too soon.
No. So from our conversation of what we've been talking about as far as geek history and as far as games and as far as film and movies are concerned, we want to get a little bit more serious before we head out today. We found out a little bit earlier today that Abstracticus, which many of you know as Mike, does Pirate Port Radio and has been a friend of the podcast and was one of our co-hosts, is no longer going to be able to be on the podcast for some personal reasons. However, we here at Geekologist Radio consider him brother, and so anytime in the future you still may see and or hear Mike on one of our future podcasts, just because the door's always open. If he's got something to say or he feels like hopping on and kind of shining his personality on this podcast, we'd be more than happy and more than welcome to have him back on. We just thought it'd be fair to share with everybody and let them know that he wasn't going to be on because we know that "What do we do?" is one of the most one of the more popular catchphrases here on our podcast, and he's been an integral part of us starting out and getting off the ground here with Geekologist Radio. Damien, Brandon, any thoughts?
I'm gonna miss him. Gonna miss his beard. I'm gonna miss. I think that thing it's a character in itself, and just his. It's been fun having the different tone. The different
Brandon, stop effing with your camera.
Yes. I mean, it's just things like that, and I mean, the one thing is that we really saw him come into his own on here, and anytime, again, Mike, anytime you want to be on here with us, doors always open, and yeah, definitely, as Chris said, you are brother, and always will be your family.
Yeah. So, Mike, we're always going to be here for you. If you need anything, all you need to do is let us know, and we will be there in any way, shape, or form, as well as I'm sure our listeners. We will miss you, but you are always welcome to come back, even if it's just for a quick 15-minute, hey, what's going on, guys? We heard this, blah, 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 blah. You're welcome always as a host on Geekologist Radio.
And on a lighter note, to end the podcast, we're still going to be on same regular time, same bat channel. So nothing's going to change in that respect. Brandon?
Also, this is the final week for our giveaway. So the final and fourth keyword to our giveaway is loop. So what I need you to do, if you've listened and were a good listener and follower for our 500 follower and download giveaway, I need you to send us an email or direct message us on Twitter, all 4 words in the correct order, and you will be entered into the drawing, which will be in about a week, if I'm guessing right. So we will announce the winner next week on our next episode of Geekologist Radio.
Before we get out of here, we're just going to mention where we can reach everybody at. Damien, where can people catch up with you at?
You can find me on Twitter at Mr. Damien Nash, all one word. You can also find us at, contact us on email at geekologistradio@gmail.com.
Brandon, how about you?
You can find me on Twitter at BE_FOUTZ. And you can also find us on Project Fenrir Gaming for Twitter, Twitch, and Beam. Like I said earlier, I need you to tweet or email us. You can find us on our Twitter at Geekologist Radio, minus the T because of character restrictions. Or you can email us at geekologistradio.com, or you can send us a message and contact us at geekologistradio.com.
I can be found at Two Wolves on Twitter, TWOWOLVZZ. Facebook, Xbox, PlayStation, you name it, I'll be there. And for us at Geekologist Radio, we are meowt.
I like the way you purr.